Week 9. Sent. Hey, it's Murda. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. That was a really good tune. Blue Kid, huh? Really well composed. So right now I'm just looking at the documentation on strings with Unity. Okay, so it is the same as Flash. It's an escape line, so that means /n. No, tennis, he uses plus. Blah blue blah. Blue blah. Blah blue blah. Alright. Save it. Let's see where that. Whoops. This is just for debug purposes. Okay, so I can have everything in one box. That works. so it can carry all the metrics that I want it to up there. Really is just up in the corner, okay. Not too bad. Okay. Well, this tune's alright, but I think I actually need to rewatch the video on arrays real quick.
Arrays are a way of storing a collection of data of the same type together. Let's say we need to store 5 integers. Rather than storing them individually as myInt A, myInt B, myInt C, etc., we can store them in an array. We declare an array in a similar way to declaring an individual variable. However, after the type of the variable, we use open and closed square brackets. It's important to make the distinction that an array is not a type, but a collection of variables of a certain type. Before an array can be used, we need to know its length, i.e. how many elements will be stored in it. Elements are what we call items in an array. To specify the length, we use the new keyword, followed by the type of the array and the number of elements in square brackets. We can now initialize our array in the start function. We can access and initialize elements of the array by using the name of the array followed by square brackets containing the index of the element. The index of an element is simply an integer, with the first index being 0. When thinking of an element's index, think about how many steps away from the first element the one you're trying to access is. So to access the first element, use the index 0, since it's 0 steps away from the first. For the second
Okay. Yeah, it does. Like this. Okay, and then blue shots fired. Shots fired. 2. Okay, so that's good. Now let's try playing it here. Oh. Oops. Plus. Plus. So those aren't going to update at all. Yet. Okay. So, this work with arrays isn't so bad. What's this error it keeps giving me? Sapphire, hey, thank you very much. It's not giving it to me anymore. So pretty much this is just my kind of handy dandy data and metric storing system. And once I get much smarter with it, I'll be able to spit out the results of somebody's session on a level as just a whoa, Ryan. I didn't even see that. Did you type in too many caps? Too many caps in a row is forbidden in this channel. I think the limit's like 35 or 55 or something. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. Good to see you here. I see that you've been streaming a bit more recently too. That's cool. Weird. Yeah, Nightbot can be a little interesting sometimes. Day 30 today, hell yeah. That's definitely a worthy milestone. Okay, so now... So what's the best way to pass data back and forth? 118, nice! Good deal.
Second element, use the index 1, and so on. Now I'm going to initialize the array. This will create an array of 5 ints just as before, starting with 12, then 76, and so on. Note that we didn't specifically state the length this time. This is defined by the number of elements within our curly braces. Arrays declared in this way can still be accessed in the same way as demonstrated in our first example, by using... There are a few things to note about arrays. If you make an array public, you will be able to see it in the inspector.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's kind of the trade-off when you start streaming more. I'm gonna have to start, you know, entering that reality here pretty soon myself.
My player's array is shown publicly in the inspector, and I can assign a length by using the size value. So if I type in a value of 1 into size, I get one element in my array onto which I can drop a game object, because that's the tag. Returns an array by doing this contain the tag are seen in an array. What's our array? Taking the text the player's game object array. See that the for loop has the array is assigned to our public variable.
You know what I like with Unity more than anything else, more than I had with Flash or a lot of other things out there, is when you're working with Unity in particular, there's no you know, BS about what the scope and scale of the project is. You're here to make a game. The person using it's a player. That's your end client. There's no you know, using other business terminology and all of that silly stuff. It's a game, it's not an app. Well, it's an app later, but first it's got to be a game. Second shift makes it a little far. Time frame for daily people. Yeah. How do I want to approach this? Is it really just as easy as making it public? I wonder. Yeah, so let me show you. Well, so this is a remake of one of my original games. You can play it either on 2 spots on the keyboard or using a dual analog, and eventually a mouse will be added. So the red's on the left, the blue's on the right. And I'm just basically trying to hit the targets with the correct color. That's it. That's the most of it, the most and the least of it. Right now I'm working on linking up the actual elements that the data that it's going to be storing from each level and from each session in these arrays here. And then what's going to happen is, after I've got these arrays all set up, once somebody completes the level, all of that data will be output so they can see how well they did, and then all of that data will be spit into a larger array that I'll create that pretty much holds all of, for every gameplay of that, that level or that type of game. So somebody can go back through and look at the array, basically the records for them playing that level, and see all of their metrics, and potentially if I feel like going forward with it, or somebody wants to jump on board with the project and help me with it, it'll be a matter of adding some extra metrics and such, so somebody can really browse through, see how well they've done from session to session, upward trends, downward trends, all of that sort of stuff. So that'd be really nice, or even to be able to export the data arrays as XML sheets would be awesome too. Pretty much the goal of the game: remake the original functionality of the original dual input game, as well as adding more functionality, more metrics, more feedback. That was kind of what was the point of the game, was to be a kind of a brain training, reflex training sort of a thing. So I feel like if I actually move forward with that and actually make it useful to that extent, not only will it actually make the game a lot more useful and viable, but there's actually potential for monetization for a lot of the assistive technology and technology meant for people in recovery and rehabilitation. Where a game like this, I've talked to people about it before, and they said, that'd be awesome, we'd love to talk to you more about it. But then they, I guess, see the old crappy version I had and were like, maybe not. So I gotta have a nice, fancy, lovely version that can spit out metrics and all of that stuff before I could actually go forward with trying to set it up with one of those companies. But it's something that I could potentially do, and I've got access to them. I think Blue Marble was one of them that was recommended to me. So there's definitely options for it, and actually doing something actionable and able to monetize with it would be great. So what was that? Access modifier. Yeah, that's right. That's what it is. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure things are going to keep improving. Then once I finish with this game, it'll just be the... this one's really helping me get a lot of understanding of just working with Unity and starting my own projects and making things link up without having to look over what everybody else has done and just try to copy paste. That's ultimately the goal of this stuff, is not just to be a copy paster. Statkeeper.shots fired. So I was just using fire count for debug. Yeah. I mean, he started with Kriya. Of course, before he did Kriya, I believe he had a lot more background and experience with it, but maybe he didn't. I think he did, though. Oh, it's the error. Yeah, that's true. Hold on a second. Had to turn on the AC. Yeah, you know, to be perfectly honest, my first time trying to learn programming, the professor wanted everybody to do everything in his way. So if you labeled something differently, if a capital wasn't capital but the thing still worked, if a lowercase wasn't lowercase but the thing still worked, if it didn't use the right kind of camel case but the thing still worked, you'd get dinged points. If it did everything it was supposed to but it wasn't in the way that he wanted it to be done, you would be dinged points. So that was one of the things that actually got me out of programming very early on, was that class with that professor who, they were highly recommended, but I would honestly, looking back, say they were staunchy and rigid with their methods and didn't really do a good job. I know a lot of good programmers came out of their classes, but that's, you know, I was looking to learn how to perform the art of code, I guess, not go through a boot camp that teaches me a very specific process, and if I don't go through that process, fuck me. So that was my very first foray into actual programming. I did a little bit of Python scripting at the same time. This was like over 10 years ago. Well, it was about 10 years ago, actually. And the Python scripting class was kind of bogus because the professor was actually a networking professor and didn't really know too much about Python, so he bit off more than he could chew. Wow. Well, fortunately or unfortunately, I was kind of a long-term community college student. Auto server shut down instead of letting it shut down. Gotcha. Well, that's smart, but that wasn't the functionality they asked for, so points were dinged. Yeah, and that's, I think, one of the other things that I probably would have been absolutely frustrated and furious about taking a programming class is I build in extra functionality to make it better, and I get dinged for it because it's not the specifications of the program. Yeah, but you can't do that. When a programming professor is grading your work, they're grading it in terms of the like dumbest person who could possibly actually look at that code, know what's going on, or run the program and try to figure out what's going on. They're taking it from the lowest common denominator, but it's kind of hard to do that because clearly they know better. At least that's been my experience with the subject. They're teaching. I'm not saying that there aren't professors that are good or that aren't good at really teaching how to people how to do programming well, but I feel like more interactive things like Codecademy or Khan Academy were, I found, a lot easier and a lot more engaging actually than a professor. They said it will keep using memory and should shut down even though it wasn't asked. StatKeeper is just on a game object in the main scene. So right now I'm just looking at how I want to set up a getter and setter to deal with it. So I'm not sure if a getter setter is going to be the best, or if it is just going to be creating a reference to StatKeeper. It'd be like a get component sort of thing. Alright, see you later, Whoa Orion. Thanks for coming through. like a get component. Something like this. Something like this. Not set to an instance of an object. Yeah, this part isn't even being triggered. What the heck's going on here? I'll be back in a moment, and then we'll try to figure this out and get a better answer going. Alright, access an array with getters and setters is what I need to know. I guess a get set's not gonna work if I didn't actually set a getter setter, did I? Yeah. I don't really need a getter setter, I just need to be able to access it. Hey Farida, how you doing? not gonna let me access it, is it? Shouldn't have to do it that way. Do I have to put that at the beginning? Is that even legal? Yeah. So that works for that part, except it's not actually updating in StatKeeper. so that's properly being increased. So I make a reference, but the reference isn't doing anything. I need to edit the original. I need to actually affect StatKeeper itself. Hmm. Damn, I'm almost about to call in a favor on this one. Looks like my Unity contacts who are around are not online. I think one of them's on vacation right now, actually. Damn. Where's Sir Kane's at? Oh, there you are. Hey, how's it going? So I've been trying to figure out how to. Okay, let me backtrack. Let me just show you kind of where things are at. So I've got StatKeeper. I established that yesterday. It's got all of these lovely arrays to store all the data that I want to have in the various metrics. And if I press play, I can show you. We've got the metrics up at the top left here. Score, total shots, red shots, blue shots. So when I fire, I want it to add to the total shots in the appropriate way. So I can show you what I've tried up to this point, and I'm sure you'll laugh and say, "Oh no, that is so wrong." So the first attempt was something like this, where I create a reference right here, and then here I'm doing here. I'll just lighten them up there so you can see them. This one was creating a reference. This one was trying to adjust shots fired array. And now, while I was able to adjust this, this is adjusting a reference. This isn't actually adjusting StatKeeper itself. So I was able to adjust a reference to StatKeeper, but it's actually StatKeeper itself that I really need to be able to affect, not a copy of it. So now I've got this going. I've got we're trying to and I'll show it up here. So I've got the StatKeeper established up here. StatKeeper, my StatKeeper equals new StatKeeper, and then down here, my StatKeeper dot shots fired. This one, once again, same thing. I can adjust the StatKeeper is actually where the on GUI that shows the stats is at, Farioto. That's actually where it's supposed to be displayed from. So how would I make the members static? What by static you would mean, like what exactly am I trying to do here? Because this one, like I said, just does the same thing where it of it, but it doesn't affect the stuff in StatKeeper itself. So let me click over to StatKeeper, roll up to the top. So shots fired is a public int. Is there a different, is it public static that I need it to be? Like that? And then how would I access it now that I've made it static? I'll hold off for a minute because it's soon probably be about 30 seconds to a minute before you actually see any of this. And tell me if I need to slow down if I'm going through this too quickly. Now, if it's a static like this, can I just affect it straight up? Like there's no issue or anything? I just go like Stat keeper dot shots fired. Something like that. Will that work? Hey! Well, check out that. Thank you very much, Sir Kane. I would not have thought to do static, but I can see that static is where it's at. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Well then, that makes my life a hell of a lot easier. Cool, well, that means I'm just doing busy work for the rest of it to make all these stats line up and link up. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Here it is. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Add to stat keeper. So that should work. Yes, so all shots fired, properly added. Just get into the tutorials. They're so easy, and once you start doing them, you realize, wow, crap, this is really easy. I should have been doing this years ago. At least that was the feeling I had. Look at that. That's looking pretty good. Alright. Able to continue here. In fact, I don't really need this anymore because It's actually linking up in the stat keeper. So let me get rid of that and that. And this fire count at the top, I don't even need anymore. That was really just more of a diagnostic sort of thing, to be honest. Yeah. We just ended up using, I think Tannis was helping me with that. What parsing error? What parsing error? What? What? What's your problem? Where does this one connect to? So we got 1, 2. Okay, so the start terminates where it's supposed to. Update. Doesn't terminate where it's supposed to. Yeah, looks like it. Indeed. Yeah, so clamping works. As you can see, I adjusted the smoothness of the controls so they don't just jump across the screen. You can actually control what's going on with them. Okay. Big ol' cup of coffee. So all of the rest of this is information that I'm going to need to be linking up using the targets. Cool deal, Farioto. You know, you keep up with it. Because you've been coming through with the channels here and kind of following along the entire time, I'd definitely be willing to work with you to get some of the assets that you're making in Unity, or in Blender rather, into the game project here once we get to that point. That could be a fun sort of thing, showing what the Twitch community was able to come up with here. So I can see there's a lot of work ahead of me for the next session here. Mostly linking things up with the targets, and maybe a little simple math here and there. So I think I might just wrap it up for this session here. And because now I know how to go forward here, that I just need to make everything static. Public static integers. An array of public static integers. That is how we're going to win this war. Public static integers. Alright. I suppose I don't need to comment them out anymore. They're part of things. They're where they're supposed to be. I guess I'll just use start here to make sure everything is tennis. Yeah, Sir Kane, I've thought about that, and for the sake of efficiency, further on I might do that. Ultimately, I want to keep things divided right now just so it's visually easier for me to understand everything that's going on, rather than, I guess, iterating through the enum would probably be just about the same because I'm just using the label, but then it'd be, I guess, red shots fired, blue shots fired, total shots fired. So, you know, an enum might actually not be a bad idea here. I think that's actually a good idea, because ultimately it's going to be spit out as a single array at the end, so that I can actually save people's data from level to level and session to session, so they can go back and see how well they did. And I don't know how far back that could save forever, so yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. So I'll make a note for tomorrow. 7 convert arrays to one enum. And the enum I can reference the same way. So the stuff I'm doing in the UI, where it's actually drawing from the arrays here, I can just do that the same with the enum, right? Shouldn't be too different. Okay. For the road. Okay, cool deal. That'll be good for tomorrow. Thank you very much, Arcane, for coming through and helping with that. I really wouldn't have thought to use a static there, but I realized I just need to use statics in places where I need to have something accessible anywhere, and then using that version instead of a copy of it. So, cool deal. At some point this week, I'm probably going to go back through and comment and clean up everything to make it look all nice and pretty and readable, to make it easier to go forward. But that'll probably be a little bit later in the week once I've got a bit more of the functionality built in. For now, I'm going to be wrapping up, going to start getting ready, grab myself something to eat. In 2 hours, I'm starting with Castles and Crap Shacks on Landmark, going to be doing Dark Elf tours, so that should be a lot of fun. And then gonna give myself maybe a 1 to 2 hour break for dinner, and then probably from 8 p.m. to midnight I'm gonna be doing some line tool only building in Landmark, so that should be a lot of fun. So that being said, I'm gonna wrap up for the day here. Thanks you all for coming through, especially Sir Kane. I really appreciate the help rather. Ferrioto, glad to hear that you're continuing your progress. Tannis, thanks for dropping through. Dave Woodhouse and Whoa Orion, if you guys are still here, I think you both took off, but thank you for coming through. And I think that's everyone for the day. Did anyone else come through? No, that's everybody. So I'll see you folks tomorrow. Bye bye.